Welcome into the Sun Devil Source 2-Minute Drill. That's Chris Cartman. I'm Ethan Ryder, following ASU head coach Herm Edwards and ASU defensive coordinator Donnie Henderson press conferences on Monday. Chris, the big news coming out of today after he misinterpreted it after the game on Thursday, Joey Ramos is actually going to be out for the season. So with the group that we've kind of talked about having some depth, what impact may that have?
They're going to be tested now. We've seen really throughout camp a lot of conversations about ASU going 7 deep along their offensive front. There was a battle between Ramos and Chris Martinez at right guard that Ramos appeared to win, but then Des Holmes had a minor injury. He's questionable for Oklahoma State after missing NAU. That led to Ramos playing right tackle. He got hurt on a strip sack that Emory Jones lost due to a twist action up front. Basically after that, ASU moved starting left tackle Isai Glass to right tackle and played Emmett Boley, who was splitting some reps with Glass at left tackle. So the starting lineup is pretty much set, I would say, at this point, kind of going into Oklahoma State, unless Des Holmes returns. If Des Holmes does return, then that means that Glass and Boley can continue to rotate at left tackle as that battle plays out.
And switching over to the other side of the ball, Merlin Robertson, we both talked about how impressive he looked against NAU. He had tied his career high with 11 total tackles. So what did you see from him, and just kind of what does this say about his offseason where he really slimmed down?
No surprise, right? We've been talking about it for weeks now. He looked lighter, leaner, more agile. But I also thought that against NAU, he was very dialed in. He seemed to have an edge of intensity about the way that he played and was running around the field quite actively. That's an important sign for ASU. They played a lot of nickel defense, 11 personnel against 11 personnel, which means that they only had 2 linebackers on the field. Connor Soley wasn't out there. So Merlin Robertson and Kyle Soley, you can expect that those guys are going to be ASU's leading tacklers this season, so long as they stay healthy.
Now, first game of the season handled NAU pretty easily, but a tougher task in Stillwater against Oklahoma State. Both Herm Edwards and Donnie Henderson talked about how it's going to be a harder test. So what do you think is going to come from that?
Yeah, they basically had 50-ish points against a FCS opponent, but still a quality opponent in that first game of the season. And they have a potent offense. Quarterback is mobile and athletic. They have receivers that can give some challenges. It's going to be a much tougher task from the passing game standpoint of defending that versus NAU. And then, of course, NAU's defense is not of the athletic caliber of Oklahoma State, even though Oklahoma State give up a lot of points. That's where ASU might have an opportunity. You're going to need Emory Jones, Avion Valladay, and the wide receivers to show up and have a big game, but they're going to have to do so by being poised and not commit penalties, which was an issue when they went on the road in previous seasons, especially last year.
Yeah, so a tough task ahead. Make sure to stay tuned to all of our content heading up to that game in Stillwater against Oklahoma State this weekend. But for now, that's it for this edition of the Sun Devil Source 2-Minute Drill. That's Chris Cartman. I'm Ethan Ryder. We'll see you guys next time.